Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul by Jeff Kinney. June, Friday. If there's one thing I've learned from my years of being a kid, it's that you have zero control of your own life. Ever since school let out, I haven't had anything I needed to do or anywhere I've needed to be. As long as the air conditioning was working, the TV remote had batteries in it, I was all set for a relaxing summer vacation. Then out of the blue, it's having pack your bags, we're going on a road trip. This isn't the first time Mum has sprung a trip on us without any warning. Last year on the first day of summer, he said we were going upstate for a few days to visit Aunt Loretta at the nursing home. It wasn't exactly my idea of fun or way to kick off the summer. One time we visited Aunt Loretta, her roommate grabbed me and wouldn't let me until Staffer gave her a chocolate chip cookie. But Mum was just bluffing about going to the nursing home at breakfast next morning. She told us where we were going. We're going to Disney World. Me and my brother Roderick were happy because we were both dreading spending the first week of summer vacation playing shuffleboard at the nursing home. When my little brother Manny heard about the change in plans, he totally lost it. Mum had talked up the Aunt Loretta trip so much that he was actually excited about going. We ended up postponing our trip to Disney so that we could visit Aunt Loretta. You'd think Mum would have learned her lesson about surprise trips after that one. I know exactly where this road trip idea came from, because the new issue of Family Frolic came in the mail today. If I had to guess, I'd say 90% of everything we do as a family comes from ideas Mum gets from that magazine. And when I saw the latest issue, I knew it was getting Mum's ideas wheels turning. Family Frolic, adventure awaits. I've flipped the Family Frolic a few times, and I have to admit, the pictures of it make everything look like a bunch of fun. Your perfect family barbecue. But there must be something wrong with our family because we can never measure up to the ones they show in the magazine. I guess Mum's not giving up though. She said this road trip's gonna be awesome. That spending a lot of time together in the car will be a bonding experience for the whole family. I tried to talk her into letting us do something normal, like going to the water park for the day, but Mum didn't want to hear it. She said the whole point of this trip is to do things that we never done before and have to do authentic experiences. I thought Mum would have looped Dad in about her road trip idea, but apparently I was wrong, because when he got home from work, he seemed just as surprised as us kids. Dad told Mum it was a bad time to be away from work, and he didn't want to use his vacation days unless he absolutely had to. But Mum said there's nothing more important than spending time with your family. Then Dad told Mum he was really hoping to get his boat on the water this weekend, and if we went on a road trip, he wouldn't be able to. Mum and Dad got pretty along in general, but the one thing that's guaranteed to cause a fight between them is Dad's boat. A few years ago, Mum sent Dad out to get some milk, but along the way, he spotted a boat for sale in someone's front yard. Before you know it, the boat was in our driveway. Mum was mad that Dad didn't check with her first because having a boat is a ton of work. But Dad said it was always his dream to have join a boat, and that we could spend every weekend out on water as a family. Dad got to keep the boat. He seemed really happy, but things went downhill fast. A few days later, some people from the Homeowners Association knocked on our door. They said there are rules in our neighborhood against having a boat parked in the front of your house. Dad told them, and they told Dad that he had to move it to the back. The boat sat in the backyard for the whole summer because Dad was too busy and didn't have time to use it. Then before one of Dad's co-workers told him he had to winterize the boat to protect it from the cold weather. But Dad found out it would cost more to winterize the boat than it would cost him to buy it. So he decided to take his chances, and sure enough, 2 weeks later, the temperature dropped below freezing. A big crack appeared in the hull. When it started to snow, Dad rolled the boat under the back deck, and it sat there all winter. In the spring, Mum started using it to store all sorts of junk from the house. The next summer, Dad decided he was going to fix the boat. When he went to pull it out from under the deck, he discovered a family of raccoons living in the old washing machine. Dad called an exterminator to get rid of the raccoons, but when he heard how much that would cost, he decided to take care of himself. By then, Manny heard about the baby raccoons living in the washing machine, and Mum had to step in. The boat's been sitting there ever since. I haven't heard any scurrying sounds coming from under the deck for a while, so I'm guessing the raccoons moved out. Today, Mum told Dad he had the whole rest of the summer to get his boat out on the water, and pretty much gave up after that. Mum said we were going to leave first thing in the morning, so we need to start packing for the trip. Told everyone to bring the bare essentials. We could fit everything in a minivan. But by the time we got all our stuff out in the driveway, it was pretty clear we had some space problems. Mum started going through everything, sorting it into 2 piles, things we needed and things we didn't. Roderick was pretty disappointed when some of his essentials didn't make the cut, like his drum set. Mum made me leave a bunch of small stuff behind, which seemed pretty ridiculous, considering that Urban Manny's potty was coming along for the ride. Even when we go for a trip that's more than 15 minutes, Mum brings Manny's potty just in case. But I get really uncomfortable whenever Manny uses it. We tell himself to push. Mum wouldn't let me and Roger take any electronics on the trip, even though they barely take up any space. She's always saying kids these days don't know how to socialise because they constantly get their noses 2 inches from a screen. But I'll tell you this, when I have kids, I'm going to let them play with whatever kind of gadget they want. You ask me more, electronics are the key to family happiness. Even after Mum threw every single item in the driveway and cut all the things away, still was too much room in the van. I suggested we rent one of those giant recreational vehicles because we could fit all our stuff in it, there'd be room to spare. The way I see it, if you want the whole family to get along, everyone needs their own space, and with one of those souped up RVs, we would spend weeks on the road that we were bumping into one another. But Mum said RVs are too expensive, they get terrible gas mileage, so that to put an end to that idea, I said maybe we could get one of those trailers you tow behind the car, which sounded smart to me. But it was pretty clear Roger was imagining the trailer as a sort of mini apartment for himself. See, that wasn't going to fly either. Then Dad rang in with his own idea. He said we could solve the whole space issue by just putting the stuff that we didn't fit in the van into the boat, then we could tow behind us. I think Mum realised there wasn't any other good idea, so she caved in. But getting the boat into the driveway was easier said than done. Not only did we have to take all the junk out of the boat, but it turned out there was a tree growing through the bottom, and it took 3 hours to get the boat from under the deck. And let me just say, Mum did not exactly go out of her way to help. After we got the boat into the driveway, Dad patched up the hole in the bottom and the crack in the hull with some duct tape. So let's just hope we're not going to go anywhere near water on this trip, though. Because as far as I know, the boat didn't come with any life preservers. Saturday. Even with the added space we got from the boat, the minivan was still pretty full. I snuck my pillow on board the last second because I decided I was entitled to at least one luxury item. I figured Roger would want to sit in the back of the van whenever we go on anywhere as a family. He likes to stretch out and take a nap. Every once in a while, we forget that Roderick is even back there. It's Easter, he made it halfway through church before Mum realised Roderick maybe made it out of the van. Back when we had a station wagon, me and Roderick used to sit in the way back together. But in the seat that faced the rear window, when we got in big trouble and we played a practical joke on Mum and Dad, just getting pulled over by the police on the side saying these people are kidnapping us. When we got in the van today, Roger offered me the back seat. I accepted before he could change his mind. but I knew his offer was too good to be true. Before we pulled out of the drive, Mum said we're taking a special guest along for the ride. The second I was worried that we're picking someone else up, because with all our stuff, they'd have to sit up on the roof. But Mum, the person, pulled out a piece of paper with a drawing on it. The drawing was a Flat Stanley, a character from a book I read in 2nd grade. Flat Stanley was a boy who gets squashed by a bulletin board that falls off his bedroom wall in the middle of the night. And when they pull off the bulletin board, he's as thin as a piece of paper. I thought it was pretty cool that Flat Stanley could fold himself up and get mailed to his grandma's, or his brother flying like a kite. Well, I tell you this, Flat Stanley had a brother like Roderick who guarantee he wouldn't survive a whole day. I really liked the book. It kind of freaks me out to glance, and it gave me definitely fear of bulletin boards. Are you sure you don't want the bed? It's a lot more comfy. That's okay, you take it. 2nd grade, everyone in my class had to cut out a Flat Stanley and mail him to a friend or relative who lived far away. That person was meant to take a picture of Flat Stanley and say something interesting and mail them back with the real photo. My friend Rowley sent his Flat Stanley to a bunch of his relatives, got lots of cool pictures. Rowley even sent it to his uncle who lives in Asia. Got a picture of Flat Stanley in front of the Great Wall of China. Well, the first person Mum sent my Flat Stanley to was her cousin, Stacy, who lives out in the Seattle. And she probably wasn't the best choice. Stacy was one of those people who hoards all sorts of stuff, like newspapers and magazines. Mum would have known that once her cousin got her hands on Flat Stanley, she wasn't coming back. Today, Mum said that we're going to take photos of our new Flat Stanley in front of all the cool places we visited and make a scrapbook of our trip. And as soon as we got on the highway, she started snapping pictures, but she was probably a little too eager. The first few pictures weren't exactly keepers. But when Mum wasn't taking pictures, Flat Stanley was taped to the front air conditioning fan. All I can say is that he was having a lot better ride than I was. The windows in the back of the van don't open and the vents were blocked by all our luggage, so I wasn't getting any cold air. That made me even more uncomfortable, so that Mum was in control of the trip. Mum always tries to make things about education. I knew she was going to turn this experience into a learning lesson. She's been doing that ever since I was little. I remember when I got scratched for a grandma's cat, Mum tried to turn it into a teaching moment. C-A-T, cat. Sure enough, a half an hour into the trip today, Mum started with the educational stuff. She had borrowed a bunch of CDs from the library that teach Spanish, and she said we'd learn them through stretches of the road trip to learn a new language as a family. Hola, learn to speak Spanish frequently. Mum always is saying that learning a foreign language is the best thing you can do for your brain. That might be true. I think she could leave the extra teaching to the schools. Mum decided it would be a good idea to expose me to a foreign language early on. So when I was in 1st grade, she put the Spanish-speaking channels on TV while we ate breakfast. Mum would repeat whatever they said on the television, but she said the words, they came out a lot different. Tango hamburgers. I ended up learning all sorts of phrases that weren't right. For example, if I was supposed to say, what's your name? In Spanish is "Come me talas." Well, I know that now because of my middle school Spanish class. When I was little, Mum told me that what's your name in Spanish is "Te amo," which actually means I love you. I just wish I had known that before I said it to millions of different people. Te amo, te amo. Today, Mum played the first 2 Spanish CDs, but she got frustrated that no one seemed to be paying attention. And she switched gears and said we were going to play a card game that she read about in a magazine. game was called Alphabet Groceries, and you play it like this. First player has to name an item that you can get at the grocery store that starts with A. Next person has to come up with an item that starts with B, and so on and so on. If a player can't come up with an item that starts with zero, they're out of the game. Mum said I should go first, and I said apple, which I guess was kind of an obvious choice. Roger was up next. He said he couldn't come up with any beat that started with B. I'm pretty sure he was trying to get out of having to play the game. As Roderick, you never know. When Roderick got knocked out, Sharon went to Manny, come up with his word right away. Babble! Mum started clapping, but I pointed out that babble isn't a real word. He said Manny is just learning the alphabet. We all need to encourage him. I couldn't protest. From then on, it was only Manny, Mum, and Dad playing. I really wished my earplugs were buried in a duffel bag under the pile of suitcases. Next down the heart was pretty painful. Zapple! Yay! All that talk of food was actually getting me kind of hungry. And when I saw a sign for a drive-thru place, the next exit, I asked Mum if we could pull over, but Mum said those wouldn't be the restaurants we would be stopping up because they didn't serve real food. She said the fast food places all kids in with cheap plastic toys took them into eating sugar, fat, and we weren't going to fall into that trap. Mum said that she'd a much better alternative showing me a lunch bag with my name on Gregory's Mummy Meals. Nutritious food, fun activities. Mum said the mummy meal idea was family folk. I guess I should not came as a surprise. Said the bag was a tuna fish sandwich, an orange, and a colored milk, or something wrapped in tinfoil. Mum said I had to eat my food before I wrapped the tinfoil, because that was my prize. But I was sure just open it right away, so I wouldn't have eaten a whole orange when the prize was a pack of math flashcards. Roger got flashcards in his lunch too, so we could both see where this was headed before Mum could turn this next other trip into a troop session. I pulled out on a game Mum had packed in a tote bag. The game I grabbed was called I Must Confess. My Mum thought she got so excited that she forgot all about the flashcards. I read the rules, which were pretty simple. One person takes a card from the deck and reads it out loud to everyone. I must confess, I've met a famous person. One of the players have done that thing that's written on the card. They earn a point, and the first player to get 10 points wins. I was a little skeptical at first, but I have to admit, that was actually kind of fun. I learned a lot of things about Mum and Dad I never knew before. Found out that Dad put chameleon when he was a kid, and Mum dyed her hair blonde once. It really surprised me. Believe it or not, even Roderick was getting into the game. He got a point for being the only person who ever slept overnight for tickets for a concert. Most of us were getting a bug stuck in his ear, which I remember like it was yesterday. Dad and Roderick were neck and neck with 9 points. Whoever scored next would win this game. I seemed really happy everyone was getting along. Then she pulled out the card of the deck and read, I must confess to have toilet paper at a neighbour's house. Pretty sure Mum thought no one was going to get it at that point. Roderick said, acting like he just won the lottery. I win! I thought Roderick was lying to get a point, but he told her it was true. He said that a few months ago, he and his bandmates toilet papered Mr. Turtle's house next door. After that, she called the police to complain they're making too much noise rehearsing. Roderick thought the whole thing was pretty funny, but Mum didn't see some moves. Let me get this straight. You and 2 of your bandmates toilet papered an elderly woman's house? If I was Roderick, I would have changed my story real quick. And I was just changing around to one game. Roderick didn't see his chance to be out. No, there were 4 of us. Mum had Dad pull over and to the side of the road, and then handed Roderick a phone and made him call Miss Turtle to apologize. It was awkward for everyone in the car. I'm sorry for toilet paper in your house, ma'am. After that, it was quiet in the van for a long time. Mum was about to pop out the next fancy day in the day. Luckily, Manny had fallen asleep, so she couldn't. If you woke up Manny in the middle of one of his naps, he would go completely ballistic with no coming down. Whenever Manny falls asleep, Mum and Dad do everything they can to keep it that way. Hey, has anyone seen my shh, 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 shh? I was a big on naps when I was Manny's age too. I used to take an hour nap after lunch every day. I started preschool. We had an official nap time where everyone put on a mat and slept on the floor. If you ask me, I think they should give kids nap time all the way through college. That stopped doing after preschool, which I found out the hard way. On the first day at kindergarten, after we had our snacks, I asked the teacher where the mats were so we could lie down and recharge our batteries. But she said kindergarten didn't have nap time, and I thought I was just making a funny joke. Yeah, right. A few minutes later, the home class was making paper bag puppets. Apparently, the only one who didn't get the heads up about the nap thing, because the rest of the day everyone else seemed fine. I could barely function. Glenn remembered to bring Manny's pacifier on the trip. As long as Manny's got one stuck in his mouth, he can sweep through just about anything. Manny lost his favourite pacifier last night. Dad went out to the store and got him a new one. For a store near house that sells gag gifts, which is a big mouth with crooked, big teeth. I guess it looks a little strange, but it works just as well as a regular one. Manny had been sleeping peacefully about an hour today when we stopped at a toll booth. Dad rolled down at the window to get out a ticket on the guy near. It sounded like he had a voice on a microphone. Hope you're all having an awesome day. Manny started to fuss. But his pacifier came halfway out of his mouth, but luckily Roderick acted quickly and Manny fell back asleep. I think Mum was a little frustrated that Manny wasn't happy in the first place. She had marked a bunch of places on a map she wanted us to stop and for some sightseeing, but now we had to keep driving. The problem with Manny's naps is that I really need to get out of this current stretch, but I couldn't. Tried to make myself as comfortable with all the stuff piled around me was impossible. Luckily, my backpack with an arm's reach behind my seat, so it had some books and other things I bought to entertain myself. Mum was always trying to get me to read stuff that's enriching. When it comes to books, I know what I like. And ever since elementary school, my favourite books have been on in the Underpants Bandits series. The Underpants Bandits about these two named Bryce and Brody who go back in time and steal underwear from famous people. They can put underpants in a museum. Underpants Bandits by Mick Davey. I know that sounds kind of trickish, but the book's actually pretty funny. Just as Zango returned to his masterpiece, Bryce snatched his red pair of boxes, which thank goodness were clean. But I probably should have checked the year that the book was written before I wrote my letter. May 20th. Dear Mr. Heffley. Oh no, the books are super popular with boys at my school, but the teachers hate them because of the rude humour. Whenever a book report was due in 5th grade, all the boys in my class did that on the Underpants Bandits books. That made my teacher, Miss Terry, hate them even more. Underpants Bandits, Shakespeare's Skeevies. Underpants Bandits, Napoleon's Britches. Underpants Bandits. I don't know if I can finish that one. Our class had a project where we had to write a letter to our favourite author called The Boys Chose Mick Davey. But Miss Tay said we had to pick someone else, so I grabbed a random book from the library and wrote my letter to the author I've never heard of. March 30th. Dear Nathaniel, My teacher made us write to an author, so I picked you. I've no idea. I've never read any of your book, no offense. Here are my questions for you. What's your favourite colour? What's your favourite animal? What's your favourite ice cream? What's your favourite superhero movie? I'd appreciate it if you could have behind me soon because I'm getting graded on this. And Siri Greg Heffley. But I probably should have checked the year the book was written before I wrote my letter. May 20th. Dear Mr. Heffley, I regret to inform you that the order for you whom you have written, Mr. Hawthorne, passed away more than a century ago. As such, you will not be able to respond to your questions. With regrets, Katrina Walker, publisher. Most parents don't like the Independent Bandits books either. In fact, the last PTA meeting had that year, they decided to parents' tax dollars shouldn't be used to purchase any Underpants books for the libraries. But when we came back from school from break, the Underpants books were gone. I hope these adults are happy with the whole generation of boys that are going to grow up not knowing how to read. When the school banned the Underpants books, it's just made them more popular than ever. Some boys snuck out copies from home and even passed them on to other kids. One kid even bought the bootleg copy from Prince Bandit's book from Japan. I couldn't understand a word of it, but it's pretty easy to figure out from the pictures what was going on. I actually wrote to the author my own letter just to tell him how I liked the series. Dear Mr. Davies, I'm just trying to tell you, don't listen to those people saying your books are garbage. They don't know what they're talking about. I know a bunch of kids, including me, who think your books are great. So the rude humour stuff goes, I find the stuff hilarious. So please don't change your thing. In fact, I'd encourage you to put more bodily functions, things in nature in your books. Feel like Greg Heffley. I've never been a fan like that. Every day I got home from school, I ran to the mailbox to see if Meg Davies had written me back. I finally got a response almost a year later, and I was really excited, but when I read the letter, it was a huge disappointment from the desk of Meg Davies. Dear friend, unfortunately, I had so much fan mail, not able to answer your letter personally, but I did want to tell you that on the cover under Bandits 24, Lincoln's Long Johns, coming soon to stores near you. Lots of yucks, Mick. I couldn't believe I poured my heart out to this guy, and I got back with an ad. Even though the whole experience had left a bad taste in my mouth, I still like his books. At least I get to read whatever I want this summer. Roger School gave me a whole list of required reading, and some of the books like a lot of work, like Charlotte, like Jane and I, Moby Dick, A Tale of the Two Cities. But Roderick's not much of a reader, so he rented all the new versions of books that one is the list. One said it's not smart for the movie reading books because they usually change it all stuff. Roderick said as long as he got the basic idea, he ran. I think his approach is going to cause problems. The Lord of the Rings is on his summer reading list. Anyway, the movie without care about checking it out. Lords of the Ring. A wrestler movie. Roderick watched the movie twice. After the second time he told him they wrote the book must be a genius. I'm guessing Roderick's teachers are going to be confused on Richard's book report in September. By the time I was done reading today, I really need to get out of the car and prevent my legs from permanently cramping. Mine was still asleep, but he had somehow turned itself all the way upside down in his sleep. I noticed she told Dad maybe we should stop driving for the day, so he pulled off at the nearest exit. I was really looking forward to eating a meal at a decent restaurant, but Mum said we're on a budget and tonight I'm going to pick up dinner from a grocery store. Dad found a supermarket a few miles away from the exit. And Mum was afraid that if the van stopped, Manny would wake up and have a fit. So Mum wrote out a shopping list for Roderick and gave him some money. Dad drove real slow in front of the entrance so Roderick could hop out. He had to circle the parking lot about 10 times. It wasn't easy since she was tying a boat when Roger came out with a couple of bags of groceries. And from the looks of it, he picked up some extra items for himself. When Dad pulled the van out, Roger hopped in and started looking for a place to stay for the night. But the selection in the air wasn't great. Motel. Cheap motel. Sleep tight. Clean rooms motel. A few of the motels had big signs that said they had colour TV. If you ask me, it isn't something to brag about in this day and age. Dad finally pulled over at the place with air conditioning and a pool, which sounded pretty good to me, especially considering that I lost 5 pounds in sweat sitting in the back seat. I haven't stayed in a whole lot of motels. I have to guess. I'd say we picked one of the lower ones on the end of the spectrum. They always smelled like mildew, and the carpet was covered in weird stains. But everyone was too tired to get back in the car and look for another place to stay. So we got the key to our room and just walked in and it reeked of smoke. But there were little holes in the comforter and pillows, so I'm pretty sure it was cigarette burns. Dad picked a towel for phone and then dropped it because it was wet. Mum went back to the front desk and asked for a different motel room. Clerk said the motel room was full, and we got the last one. Mum told her, in that case, we're going to leave and take our business to another hotel. But the clerk said that 24-hour cancellation policy, so we couldn't get our money back. Mum returned to the room. She said we were going to have to make the best of a bad situation, and she and Dad stripped the bed down to the mattress. Believe it or not, Nanny slept through all of this. Mum said that if he woke up now, he'd be awake all night. We were just going to let him sleep through till morning. Mum put Manny down in the middle of the sofa bed and pulled out a blanket over him. The rest of us were really hungry, so we emptied out the groceries Roger bought. But it turned out he didn't buy anything on Mum's list. Roderick was supposed to get sandwiches, supplies, orange juice and stuff like that. Instead he just got a bunch of things he likes. Coca-Cola, Papa Peeps pizza, cheese curls, cinnamon rolls. Mum was pretty upset that Roderick didn't get a single thing on the list she gave him. But this excuse was that he couldn't read her handwriting. Mum told him it wasn't very smart to get cinnamon rolls for your pizza since you need an oven and we didn't have one. Roderick said we could use the microwave to microwave the pizza. Then he put it inside the microwave oven to prove it. At least Roderick thought it was a microwave. But that was safe by the time we figured out pizza was locked inside. Mum gave me what was left of her cash and said, go down to the vending and get the most nutritious stuff I could find. That's how we ended up eating sugar wafers and breath mints for dinner, first night of our road trip. Last night we couldn't watch TV or do anything in the room because Manny was asleep on the pull-up sofa. Mum wouldn't even let us keep the light on, so all we sat was in the dark for a while until me and Roger had to go down to the pool to kill some time. Well, the sign outside said the motel was a pool, but there's no actual water in it. And it didn't look like there had been there for at least 5 years. No lifeguard on duty, no diving. 5 feet, no water, it rained. There was a hot tub near the pool that did have water in it. Some families were already using it. The maid Roger waited our turn. Fortunately, the family couldn't take a hint that we wanted to use the hot tub. So eventually me and Roger went back to the room. The lights were still out. Mum and Dad both asleep on a mattress, so I guess they must have pretty exhausted because they were still wearing all their clothes. With Mum and Dad on the bed, Annie on top of the sofa It didn't leave a lot of good sleep options for me and Roderick. We checked the closet for the coat or an air mattress, but there was nothing. Roderick was one step ahead of me though. He gathered up the sofa cushions, made a bed, himself on the floor. 5 seconds later, he was out cold. I figured the closet was a good place as any for me to sleep, so I got some towels out from the bathroom and laid them on the floor. After I was lying there for a minute, I noticed a terrible smell and thought an mouse must have died in a vent or something. I tried covering my nose with a washcloth, but it seemed to smell even worse. It was hard enough trying to fall asleep under these conditions, so that someone in the room started snoring. Luckily, I was prepared for that, and Dad both bought some more, which is the reason I thought ahead and bought earplugs for the trip. But it was so dark in the room, I could only find one in my duffel bag. I had to try and sleep with the earplug in my left ear and my other ear pressed to the floor. I actually did fall asleep for a few minutes, but woke up with some kind of rockets going outside. When I looked at the people, I saw something flash by. I couldn't tell what it was. So I kept in the door to see what was going on. It turns out it was those kids from the hot tub that got their hands on a clean cut and were ramming it into a wall. Once the coast was clear, I hung a little sign on a doorknob and decided to come back. It was really hard for me to sleep after that, because every time I heard someone outside the door, I held my breath until they passed by. Before I knew it, the sun was up and so was Nanny. Mum turned on the television. Whenever Manny watches TV, he talks to it. What sound does a ducky make? Quack, quack. I was a little annoyed with Manny blabbering away, but I guess I can't complain. I used to do the exact same thing when I was younger. One of the time I was watching my favourite TV show and the host asked the question, what should I draw on this box? I don't know, polka dots. I was just goofing on when I answered. The current TV actually responded, okay, polka dots it is. I wish it never happened because for a long time it's like from the TV could hear everything we were doing. How are you today? I could be better than my brother Roderick. That's great. In fact, on my 6th birthday, I had to sit me down, talk about the differences between imaginary and real friends. Hey, did you happen to see what my parents got me? It's a bike, isn't it? Blink once if the answer is yes. Once finally got going into conversation with the TV characters this morning, I knew there was just no point trying to fall back asleep. So I got up for the day. And when I did, I found out the source of the awful smell. Roger could put his shoes in the closet and spent the whole night breathing in his fumes. And even worse, with that washcloth, I had used to block the smell of I had actually used one of Roderick's socks. Speaking of Roderick's, many conversation with the TV didn't bother him a little bit because he set by for the noise. Dad was getting a little restless, waiting for everyone to get going this morning. He was one of those guys with crack of dawn, sitting around at his office early, and this whole late starting thing was at work with him. Eventually, Mum made Roger get up and take a shower. We went to the diner right next to the motel for breakfast and got back in the van. Mum said that from now on we were going to be on the same sleep schedule so we wouldn't waste any more time on our trip. But before she was even done talking, Manny passed out in his car seat. Mum's big plan was the day first to go to the country fair that she ran family frolic. I'd never been to something like anything like that, but it looked like it was worth checking out. Highway 1, 130th Annual Country Fair. #1 for family fun, food, contest, prizes. Woo! fair was a few hours away, so that meant me being cramped in the backseat again, which was starting to get old. Thankfully, after an hour, Mum offered to switch places with me. It's just when I got the front seat, so I couldn't believe how much room there was. And it wasn't just all the space that was awesome. I had an individual temperature setting on my own cup holder. I did change the radio station. Dad stopped me, said only the driver gets to pick the music. And I didn't think that's fair. I wasn't gonna complain. We'll get this back to the back seat. My truck is busted, but my dog, he helps me. Dad's music was pretty awful, but the view totally made up for it. When you're you don't have any sense of what's ahead. So up front, I had a whole new perspective of what I could see. Mum was so gung about how this road trip was. When we took the exit for the country fair, we came to a stoplight. Behind a minivan with the same people from the exact motel house, only purple. The kids in the van looked real familiar. Took me to realise they're the same ones from last night. I hadn't told Mum and Dad about the incident with the kids and the clean cut because that was why I wouldn't come out looking too gay. I definitely needed to know more about my running with Mr. Beardo. The kids in the purple minivan recognised me right away. They started making obnoxious faces right away. I wasn't going to sit there and take them from those little punks, so I made a face at them. The skinny one made the same face at me, and the second one he did. The light turned green and they accelerated. When their van launched forward, Luke could face planted into the back window. Dad passed them on the left, and Mr. Peter got a real good look at me. Luckily, the parking lot for the fair was only a few hundred feet up the road. Once we stopped, I wanted to stay inside until I was sure we weren't being tailed by the purple van. But it looked like we were in the clear. Manny was still asleep in his car seat, and Mum said she stayed back with him and the rest of us could go on ahead. Fair was a lot different than I thought it was going to be. I expected it was to have Ferris wheels and merry-go-rounds and stuff like that. Instead, there's just a bunch of tents with farm animal booths with homemade food. We were getting kind of hungry anyway, so we went looking for something to eat. They had corn dogs and fried dough and all the stuff you'd expect at a big fair. But then there's something crazy, deep-fried butter on a stick. I was actually glad Mum was still in the van, because I was pretty sure it was just the kind of thing didn't qualify as real food in her book. After about an hour of walking in the fairgrounds, Dad went back to the car to see if Manny was awake yet. But he told me and Roderick to go explore our own. So we both wandered around for a little bit. So we came across the tent where there's something going on. It was a fowls footwork contest, and the finger prize and the nastiest shoe. There's a big lineup of people who wanted to submit their entries. I told Roderick he shouldn't, because anyone deserved to win this, and it was him. While we were waiting in line, me and Roderick got into an argument who would get to keep the prize. I said we should split 50-50 because it was my idea. He said he should get the whole thing because it was his shoe. He was the one who made it stink. Right before we got to the judging table, we made a compromise that I'd get 10% of the prizes for Roderick's agent. Some of the other shoes looked a lot worse than Roderick's, and I was losing confidence that he'd win, but when the judges got to smell the test, it was all over. Roderick won first prize. Turned out to be a coupon for deep-fried butter on a stick. I told Roderick he could have fought himself because he ate more butter made me feel nauseous. Roderick asked the judges for his shoe back, but they said they were going to send it to the national competition. So that left Roderick walking around and only one shoe. I decided to explore the nearby stalls while Roderick was polishing off his deep-fried butter. But but I had a seriously close call when turned the corner and almost ran smack into the entire Beardo family. Luckily, I was able to duck for cover just in time. Now that I knew the Beardos were on the fairgrounds, I was eager to get out of there. When Roderick looked for, I went to look for Roderick, but he must have gone back to the van. I decided to head to the top of I spotted the top of Mum's head in the car corner on the livestock tent. People were packed shoulder to shoulder, and they were pushing away to get to where Mum was. I got halfway, a big cheer on top. Hooray! When I finally made it up to the front, I was surprised to see Manny standing in the middle of the crowd holding a piece of paper. Apparently there was a contest to see who could come closest to guessing the way of a hole, and Manny got it exactly right. The prize for guessing the longest way was a real baby pig. Mum explained to the judge that they just entered the contest for fun and didn't want the pig. The people in the crowd seemed kind of insulted that they were taking over an answer. With all the commotion this was causing, I noticed the Beardo family was going to come over to the livestock to see what's going on. Luckily, my Mum seemed ready to get out of there herself. They made our way to exit the tent. Dad was sitting in the van with the air conditioning cranked up, and when he saw Mum carrying a pig outside, he was taken by surprise. Mum filled up in on Dad how Manny won the pig in the contest, but what he didn't seem to be thrilled about was the news. Dad said we had no business owning a pig, and we needed to take it back to the fair immediately. Mum said it was already too late because the pig already seemed imprinted on Manny. Dad still wasn't on board though. He said a pig is a barn animal, and we could be carrying all sorts of parasites and whatnot, but Mum said a lot of people get pigs as pets. She'd heard about them just as smart as dogs. Then Roger got on the conversation and he voted for keeping the pig because he said that we could get free bacon from it every morning the way you get fried eggs from a chicken. The research of the notes down pigs work, we just think's gonna get off it. I was all in favour of keeping the pig if it meant we could hurry up and get going. I noticed the purple van parked a few spaces away from ours. I was nervous that the Beardos would show up any second. Dad finally caved in. He said we were going to keep the pig after riding the boat, but Mum said moving the pig in the boat was inhumane, so we had to find a place for it in the van. The thing is, there weren't many places to put the pig, so they let it run free. So we exactly strapped it in with our seatbelt either. So Mum emptied the cooler with the pig in there. Once that was settled, finally pulled out of the parking lot. After that, a few miles between us and the fair, finally breathe again. The pig started causing trouble right away. By the time we got back on the highway, I had tipped over the cooler and Mum was rooting around in one of Maddie's meal bags. I had to wrangle the pig back into the cooler. This time I strapped a seatbelt across so it wouldn't tip over. Mum figured out the pig was hungry. They said we needed to stop and get some food. Her idea was first to go to a restaurant and then give pig our leftovers. That sounded like a good deal to me, since it meant we'd actually get to have a sit-down dinner. We found a place to eat a few miles away and Mum stayed back in the van with the pig while the rest of us went inside. But when the waitress saw Roderick was only wearing one shoe, she said we couldn't serve him. Dad sent me and Roderick to take turns using my shoe, but I wish I had Roderick go first because he's the world's slowest eater. When we got back from the van, we gave the pig our leftover corn and vegetables, which it ate straight from a styrofoam container. Mum started looking up places to stay for the night on the GPS. She asked Roderick to call the hotels to see if they had any rooms available. But Roderick blew up by getting too specific. They said no pigs. and found another place a few miles away, and this time she did the talking. The hotel room, the hotel was just after the tolls, and a few hundred feet from the exit, traffic came the crawl. So I tucked it under my arm and ran across there, flying the traffic to get to the gas station. I tried to handle to the men's room, but it was locked. I waited for the person using it to come out. Whoever was in there was needed to rush wrapping things up. I was getting kind of desperate, so I tried to handle the women's room. That was locked too. So I ran back into the car, which had only moved forward about 5 feet in the time I was caught. Told Mum that both bathrooms were occupied. She said the gas station's bathroom were always locked, and I just didn't turn it for a key. So I ran back to the gas station and told the guy in the desk I need to use the restroom in a hurry. I'm not sure what I was expecting from a gas station bathroom, but it was actually a lot worse than I could have imagined. Let me just say, it was pretty awkward using the toilet. A farm animal staring right at me, but the pig was even more embarrassed than I was, because when it was the pig's turn to go, nothing happened. After I gave the key back to the attendant, I spotted our van just about to go through the tool booth, so I sprinted all the way across traffic to get to it in time. But before I opened the door, I wish I had noticed that the van didn't have a boat attached to it. Our van was actually still a few cars back by the time I got inside. The pig looked like he was about to burst. I guess Mum was right about pigs being smart, because put on Manny's policy, you know exactly what to do. Monday, when we pulled up to the hotel last night, I was just relieved that it looked a lot nicer than the place we stayed the night before. Mum and Dad weren't taking any chances on getting turned away at the desk because the pig, so kept it in the cooler till we got to our room. I think Mum felt bad about the sleep situation at my hotel this night, because this time she rented 2 rooms so everyone would have a bed. But I should have known there was a catch. Mum said since she and Dad had Manny in their room, the pig was going to have to stay without in ours. So I didn't know what to do, so suppose it was the pig. So I tried putting it in our bathtub, but it started whimpering the second I set it down. Whimper, whimper. I decided to let the pig loose in the bathroom. When I peeked inside a few minutes later, I had a terrible mess in there. I'm pretty sure he ate the bath soap too. I had the pig free in the bedroom so I could sleep, keep an eye out, but the first thing he did was he went into the door connecting our 2 rooms. Dad went down to the front desk to tell them our pet had got into the minibar and we shouldn't be charged for all the stuff it ate. But the clerk told Dad that we were going to have to pay for the stuff in the minibar. On top of that, I'm going to pay it $50 for the violating the hotel's no pet policy. After that, the phone told the pig ended up costing more than the hotel rooms did. Mum was eager to get on the road, so she woke Roderick up, told him to get in the shower, but I probably should have mentioned to him that the pig was in the bathtub before he stepped in. When we got in the car, Dad was on the phone with his office. Apparently there was some sort of emergency. The only one who knew would take care of it. Mum had planned a big day with us, lots of stops. She wasn't happy that Dad had to deal with the work situation. But we hit the road anyway. Dad talked on the phone while he drove. Our first stop was a place that claimed up the largest piece of popcorn in the world. Turned out not being that impressive. First of all, it wasn't even a real piece of popcorn. It was a wood carving, and second, it wasn't even all that big. When we got to the end, when we got out to our car, Dad stayed back on his call the pig steak to sleeping off the drinks from the minibar. The next we went to is supposedly world famous Life Garden, all the US presidents in butter. This time Mum made Dad get out of the van and join us, but he stayed on the phone the whole time. When we got back in the car, Mum let Dad know that occasionally missing out on family time. So Dad told her he just needed to deal with one more work issue, and after that it was taken care and he would give us his full attention. Dad said he was about to get a call from his international clients, and when he did, it was really important for everyone to stay quiet, so it seemed like Dad was in his office. It did not look like it was going to be a big problem for Manny, who lay down in the first afternoon about Pig passed out in the cooler. A few minutes later, Dad's call came in. You could tell by now that the guy was talking that he was upset. Dad spoke in a real even tone, and his client seemed to calm down. The rest of us stayed quiet as we could. Then Roger got out one of his packs of bubble gum and put all 5 pieces in his mouth and started chewing it real loud. Mum snapped her fingers to try and get him to stop making such noise, but her finger snapping was actually louder than the gum and chewing. You could tell it was irritating Dad. Mum wanted Roger to get rid of his gum, so she pressed the button to open the sunroof. When he did, the sound of blowing air inside the van sounded like a jet turbine. Mum realized she had made a mistake. She went to close the button on the sunroof, but it shut all. Before it shut all the way, Roger took his gum through the opening. The gum boomeranged right back and got stuck in the track of the sunroof. Mum frantically pressed the close button. The sunroof was jammed open. At that moment, the air rushing from the outside dislodged Flat Stanley from the van, and he went flying. Dad was having a really hard time concentrating on his call and was fumbling with the buttons to try and shut the sunroof himself. But now he didn't have a hand on the wheel to steer with his knees. Dad started drifting out of his line, and the driver of a huge truck let us know and made Dad drop his phone. One of those startled Manny. The pacifier popped out of the floor. Manny was sucking air. Look, he still had his pacifier in his mouth, and I knew we had about 10 seconds to find it. And he had a full stop turn. I spotted the pacifier on the floor in front of me, and I tried to unfasten my seatbelt so I could reach it. Instead, I accidentally unbuckled the seat, holding the cooler in place. Dad was trying to reach for the phone. At the same time, and he jerked the car to the left, which made the cooler tip over. Now it was total chaos. The pig was loose. Manny was crying, and Dad was cussing because he couldn't reach his phone. The main problem was the pig. It was going bananas, running around on the floor, squealing like crazy. Everyone was trying to grab it, but the pig was too slippery. Then all of a sudden the pig went quiet and popped back in, and we knew why. Suck, 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 he went on the pacifier, but when we probably should have made sure his phone was off first, because when he put up to his ear, the plant was still on the other end. Tuesday. After Dad work called us after yesterday, he and Mum had a long talk outside the car. Then they got back in, and we drove in silence for a while. And half an hour later, we pulled out into the parking lot of a Penny View. Mum opened the side door, took the cooler with the pig into the back. Mum went inside, and 5 minutes later, she came out with an empty cooler. Personally, I wasn't so sad to see her pig go, but Manny had a different story. I'm not so sure Mum was doing the Penny View only favour by doing the pig up bite for kids. And speaking of which, my finger was going to kill me. Dad said that pig probably hadn't had any immunizations, might even have rabies, which was not what I wanted to hear. I'll be even seen horror movies that person gets bit by animals. Nothing good comes up. Last thing I need to turn is some kind of werepig. Because that could ruin us at my date night. Because from noon tonight, earlier I had another spine. Mum took a look at my finger and I could tell she was a little odd. So we should find a doctor to check it out. Which didn't calm my nerves any. Mum tried to find an emergency care place at GPS. There's nothing within a 50-mile radius. But she did find a veterinarian's office 5 minutes up from the road. So she said a veterinarian with the same stuff as a regular doctor. The would actually be better. She might not, because she might know a thing or two about pig bites. Honestly, thought Mum was joking around about this veterinarian thing, but she was dead serious. And a few minutes later, she was taken into the parking lot. Mum talked about the receptionist at the front desk and waited us on the bench. A few minutes later, Mum came out to fill a clipboard with the paper. All I can say is hope this doesn't go on my permanent back. If it kind of crops up my later life, it'll be embarrassing. Emergency pet care, pet registration, pets' names, Greg, owner name, Susan, Heffley, species, human, last vaccination, gender, history of worms, yes, as a toddler, last rabies shot, not available, spayed, just neutered, no. Once Mum had handed in the form, the receptionist told me I could sit with the other patients and wait for the doctor. You'd think I'd get some sort of priority because it's the only human. But I got put behind a gerbil that threw a cigarette. A cat that had a yogurt face stuck. When we had our dogs free, Mum took him to the but a bunch of times for getting stuff he wasn't supposed to eat. The last time he took him, he didn't really have to go. Mum found a bunch of empty cellophane powders in the pack of wimpy pies in the laundry, and from the laundry room, she figured Sweetie had eaten them. I was worried that Roderick might be right. Apparently chocolate that poisoned the dog. So Mum rushed him to the vet to get his stomach pumped. When Mum brought Sweetie home from the vet, she told me he had got into the wimpy pie. I felt kind of bad because last time I ate them, not the dog. From what I've heard, getting your stomach pumped isn't a real pleasant experience. I felt like the visit to that was payback for the wimpy pie incident, especially when the nurse weighed me at the same girlfriend they used for dogs. The nurse took my temperature too and had hold me there for 30 minutes under my tongue, 30 seconds. When I got put back into the waiting area, Roderick told me that to take it and also to stick a thermometer somewhere else. I probably used the same one for all the patients. I was worried Roderick might be right, and I realized the information was coming from a guy who was eating gerbil pellets. Twice while we were waiting at the vet, Manny bottled it out in front of the front door, and both times Dad grabbed him before it got too far. I think Manny was pretty mad, but I was leaving his pig at this petting zoo, and he was acting out. When I was around the age, I used to get mad at Mum and Dad, and I tried to run away all the time. I remember once we were in the changing room at the pool. Mum was trying to make me wear a bathing suit I didn't like. I took off running. I wasn't really thinking about where I was going. Roderick used to run away a lot too. When I was in the first grade, he'd take off every single day at the same time. When I come back home, he told Mum a TV show on. He came back home on his favourite TV show was on. When he tried to run away the third time, Mum brought up a tractable leash at the front desk to keep him under control. Mum also got a bandage for Roderick's foot so we could start going to restaurants with the family again. Mum was running around was ready to see me, and the nurse led us into the exam room. My palms were getting sweaty because I always get a little nervous. It's time to see the doctor. So I'm not a big fan of needles. Mum knows it. Whenever I need to get a fully shot of something, Mum doesn't tell me it's coming. And by the time I figure out what's going on, it's too late. Hey, is that a hot air balloon? Where's that? But there weren't any shots this time around. Mum told me the vet what happened. And wait. And they took a look at my finger. There's nothing to worry about. But since teeth hasn't even broken the skin. She put the same antibacterial ointment on my finger just to be safe. And she sent me on my way. I gotta say, I was pretty impressed by the whole veterinarian experience. Doctor with no nonsense didn't ambush me with needles. I figured out when I get back home, I might be such a veterinarians. I'm not saying I'm definitely gonna make a switch, but I do want to see what options are there. After the vets, Dad spent some time trying to get the gum out of the sunroof with a popsicle stick. But it was too messy and eventually he gave up. Dad didn't like not being able to close the sunroof, so he drove around trying to find some mechanic who could fix it. Nobody he talked to would do it for under $100. So Dad went to a grocery store and bought some cell phone and duct tape, and he fashioned his own sunroof. I think Dad was pretty proud of himself for saving money on repairs, especially since it started to rain. I think the homemade sunroof held up. But after a little while, the sunroof started filling up with water and bugs. Eventually the whole thing gave away, and for once I was glad to be sitting in the back. We parked at an overpass and waited for the rain to clear up. My Maddie and Roger changed to some dry clothes. The trip was a total disaster up to this point. Not even Mum was ready to admit it. And she said it was probably such a good idea to do anything according to the magazine, and that if we switched things up a little bit, maybe we could change the trip around. Mum said that from then on we'd go wherever their family would go wherever road took us, and we'd make decisions as a family along the way. To the rest of the trip, we could choose your own adventure books. I love these books because on every page you could make a decision that changed the story. The ancient statue has priceless gem inside. Look good. The inscription on the statue reads, "Steal from me and perish what you do." If you pry from the German statue down to page 40, if you stop and pet the kid and turn to page 23. The problem is, I've never seen them make the right choices to get me to the happy ending. In fact, no matter what choice I made, it's always the wrong one. We step onto the dice to pet kitten. When you step onto the dice to pet the kitten, when you keep slowly opening into a deep chasm. You fall to the bottom and die. Better luck next time. The end. I wasn't sure about Mum's new approach, but I figured anything was improvement as long as I didn't get bit by any more pigs. After the rainstorm passed, we got back into the car and gave Mum an idea to try. When we reached our first intersection, she asked everyone to turn right or left or go straight. We all voted. Me and Roger voted to turn right. That's what we did. And when we got to another intersection, we voted again. This time we turned left. We drove into a little town that had 2 restaurants, and after we voted, we went to one that ended up having the best apple pie I've ever tasted in my life. In fact, it was going so good that I ordered a second one. Mum was really pleased with herself for coming up with this new approach, and she said that she was gonna write into family before I could tell them about it. The only person who wasn't having a good time was Manny. He still seemed upset about the pig. Mum kept the leash on him even while we were eating, make sure he didn't try and run away again. After lunch, Mum asked me to take Manny to the bathroom. We were trying to toilet, so I went outside for him to do his business. Manny was in there for a while, and I started to wonder what was taking him so long. I finally opened the door, and he was gone. Luckily, Dad saw Manny through the front window of the restaurant and scooped him up before it was too late. Because if it hadn't been to how far would he have got? We got in the van and Mum strapped Manny into his car seat. When we got to a stoplight, everyone agreed we should go left. We waited for the light to change. Everyone else was going. Dad stepped on the gas. The car came out of nowhere, totally out of the red light. Dad gave the horn and the driver just kept on going. Then another car, and the red light, we noticed it. And then another, and I was like, nobody even noticed the light was red. Dad was getting pretty frustrated, and when he saw the gap between the two cars, he put the pedal to the floor and hung a left. We barely squeezed in front of the next car, which also ran the light. When I looked back at the car behind us, I noticed something weird. There's a little flag on either side of the hood. Mum noticed that flag too. She got really upset when the vehicle behind us had a funeral procession. She explained that during funerals, cars are allowed to go through an ice on the way from church to a ceremony so they can all stick together. Dad would go and cut off the line of cars. Dad was getting panicky and told us behind our van we're now following US. We tried to shake them off too by making a few quick turns. Didn't work though, and Dad was going to get back on the highway and trying to lose the cars that way. Mum said at least we could do was lead the people behind us to the cemetery. Mum took cemetery into the GPS. There's one just a few blocks away. We drove to the gate of the park dog. The side of the path the road was followed, got out of the cars and seemed confused. One line at the gravestone, it was clear whatever. Apparently the GPS treats all cemeteries the same. They had taken us to a pet cemetery. Luckily, Dad got us out of there, but things got ugly. After escaping with our lives from the past cemetery, everyone decided it would be best to just pack in the night. They found a hotel a few miles from the room and got on the 7th floor. Dad wasn't comfortable leaving all our stuff in the van, and someone could get in the sunroof and steal whatever when they wanted. So we had to take everything into the hotel. My Mum wanted to keep going with choose your own adventure plan. I was starting to wonder if Stretch having such a great idea. She'd almost got us killed yesterday. Mum was sticking with it. She grabbed a bunch of brochures from the front desk and brought them to mix us up with a big one. What did you do for the game? Boast 4, Dino Play Palace, Conway Caverns. There were actually too many options and nobody could agree on what to do. Dad wanted to take an all-day guided tour with Civil War Battlefield. Mum wanted to go to the beach. Roderick wanted to go to the electric guitar museum. What looked like in front of me was a place called the Civic Centre, and we went to the water park last summer, but got rain, so I figured this would make up for it. But Mum read through the brochure and said the Civic Centre looked artificial, and avoid the whole point of this trip was to be places that like, since nobody could agree on anything. Mum said she was making an executive decision that we were going to the beach. Dad didn't complain because I'm sure he was thinking that if we were going to the shore, we might actually get to use his boat. I'm really not much of a beach person myself. Whenever we go to one, I bring my blanket and spread it out. It's still there for the whole day. You can't really go anywhere because you're worried someone will take your spot. The last time we went to the beach, Dad brought the tarp he used to cover the boat. So we'd have more room for our family and all our stuff. But the last trip was at least twice the size of our old blanket, and it took up a ton of space on the beach. Not to mention the fact it was made out of plastic, so with the sun beating down, it felt like we were sitting in a frying pan. It was especially embarrassing when the rest of my family went to have lunch on the boardwalk and I was getting back on the top by myself to watch our stuff. So I wasn't real excited about going to the beach, especially since I knew Dad had his boat top with him. The beach was a few hours drive away, so I decided to take a nap until we got there. Believe me, all the junk piled back in the back of the minivan wasn't easy. I woke up when the van slowed down. We were at the beach, but when we got into the bridge, it seemed like everyone had the same idea we did. When we were about a quarter of a mile from the bridge, I could tell that Dad was starting to get nervous. He hates bridges, because for some reason he gets dizzy whenever we have to drive over one. Bridge to the beach, one of those ones to really high above the water. I'm sure Dad wasn't looking forward to being stuck on it the next half an hour. I'm told Roderick he could drive, so he pulled over and switched seats. Dad took my place, so he wouldn't see the bridge out the front window, and I moved to the middle row. When Roderick got into the driver's seat, he took the lunch of Dad's radio and blasted heavy metal music. I could tell it wasn't helping Dad's nerves. We were only going for about 3 miles an hour, it looked like, until we got stuck on the bridge even longer than I expected. So I ended back at cheese curd Roderick bought at the grocery store. There was a seagull sitting on the bridge next to a minivan, and it looked right at me. So I guess I kind of got so far and adjusted the cheese curd sunroof. I have to say, I was pretty impressed that seagull caught it in midair. I was about to throw another one, but Mum stopped me. They said seagulls are pretty aggressive. And giving them people food is a bad idea. She said about the aggressive thing, because 2 seconds later, the seagull was on top of the car. Could tell it wanted more food, so I threw another one to try and make it go away, but the seagull bobbled the cheese curl, which fell right back into the car. That's when things got bad. Seagull hopped down into the car, ate the cheese curls before. For a second, everyone was in the state of shock that the seagull was in our van. Nobody moved a muscle. Seagull squawked a few times. They tried to fly it out. That's the way it came in, but it missed the opening right about 2 feet and smacked into the roof. That's when it went completely nuts, flying around and crashing into the window. Everyone was in total panic. The feathers, cheese curls were everywhere. Then the seagull got greedy and grabbed the bag of the cheese curls from the floor, and I snagged it and held on for dear life. Everyone was yelling at me to let the bag go, but I wasn't giving in. Bad news was that our van wouldn't start, and we had to wait an hour for a tow truck company to come. All the traffic went down to one lane. That didn't make us too popular with the people trying to cross the bridge. The guy at the repair shop said we cracked the radiator and was going to take at least 4 or 5 hours to fix it. That means we needed to find something to do for the rest of the day. When we stopped outside of the police shop, we found that we were 2 blocks away from Soak Central, which is where I wanted to go in the first place. I begged Mum to let us go there while we were waiting for the van to get fixed. She said she would rather we did something wholesome like go to the local library. But this time, she's outvoted 4-1. we walked into the central, paid for tickets at the gate. But then we got into a locker and pulled out all our stuff. We didn't want to get wet. We changed into our bathing suits and met outside the restrooms. It was super crowded and there was no way we were going to find 5 lounge chairs all together. We eventually found one chair with a few broken straps and dumped our towels and the rest of our stuff on there. Mum and Dad stayed back with Maddie, so me and Roderick were on our own, but Mum said instead she wanted the 2 of us to stick together. We went to do a driveway pool first, but there was about 1 billion people in it. Roderick suggested that we play hide and seek with other people in the house and the pool. I knew it would be impossible with a seeker to find the hider. I said to make it fair, the hider couldn't swim underwater. I really didn't trust Roderick not to cheat. But he came up with a way to make sure the hider followed the rules. Roderick got a paper placemat from his neck, and he said the hider had to keep it dry through if he didn't go underwater. And I have to admit, I was pretty impressed he came up with that all on his own. I wanted to be the best hire. I found a spot at the front of the pool, and Roderick would have trouble finding me. What I didn't know was that Roderick had something on the placemat, giving it to me, which everyone around me noticed before I did. What he wrote would have been bad enough on its own, but he misspelled the word, so I made it worse. I'm not wearing a bathing suit. Even more embarrassing than the lifeguard got down from my chair time. I had to get out of the pool, come through Roderick. Gotta learn never to trust him, especially out water parks. Jeez, water's falling on his head. I was done with Roderick after the placemat thing. I didn't care once that we needed to stick together. I left him behind and went to the water side myself. I didn't know how long the line was till I got halfway up the stairs. By then a ton of people were behind me and there was no turning back. So I packed in with these people until I got to the top. It was really hot. People were starting to get agitated out where the line was moving. Then the kid behind me poked the lady in front and said my butt in front of me with in the butt, the pool needle. So then I had to deal with her boyfriend. I really didn't like getting into a fight over something like this. Luckily I didn't have to come to the top of the stairs when it was time to get down the slide. Fortunately, the raft was a 4-seater, which made things pretty awkward on the ride down. So I emptied out to the area where there was a ton of rafts, which was great because it gave me a chance to hide from that woman there and the boyfriend that went down. That went around the lazy river twice to make sure I'd lost it. I had enough with the water for that day, so I went back to a chair and got my clothes. But the chair was gone, and all our stuff was lying in a huge pile on the ground. Most of my family at the snack bar getting lunch told them what happened with our lounge chair. Mum said it wouldn't be hard to figure out who took it because it had broken straps. We spread out to look for it. I searched the area by the wave pool. Sure enough, the lounge chair was there, but I couldn't believe who was sitting there. The Beardo family. I didn't know what the odds of running into the same people again and again. But this was starting to get ridiculous, so I figured it was best to just let the Beardos have our lunch and not make it into a big deal. I caught back up with my family and pretended I didn't have any luck finding our chair. By now, food was getting cold and we still didn't have anywhere to eat. We eventually found a place to sit behind a snack bar. Everyone seemed ready to leave after that. Mum asked for the key to the locker so she could get our stuff. I told her I didn't have it. She said she'd given me the key. I turned both pockets of my bathing suit out to the emptied. I was pretty sure she'd given the key to Roger, but he said he didn't have it either. Everybody searched themselves for the key, but everyone came up with the hundred. This was a huge problem because Mum and Dad's cell phones and wallets were in the locker, so we couldn't leave until we found it. I went to an employee at the front counter, told him we lost our key. So when he asked what our locker number was, none of us could remember. There were hundreds of them, and all the lockers looked exactly the same. He said that the lock number was written on the key, but of course that information was getting us anywhere. Guys said the only thing we could do was try to find this key. So we split up and traced down the steps across the water park. Roger went down to the wave pool where we played hide and seek, went to the lazy river, but didn't have any luck. I went back up. We went back up and nobody had found the key. I said maybe we accidentally threw it away after we ate, so we dug through the trash near where we sat. Mum said we should all concentrate real hard and try to remember which locker we put our stuff in. And when I did, I could suddenly see it clearly in my mind. I told Mum that we went straight to locker 99. Sure enough, it was locked. There was no key in the door. We went back to the guy at the counter to tell him which locker was ours, but we had to wait a long time before we could get his attention. And we told our locker number. He got out his master key and walked over to 929 with us. By the time we got there was this he slipped back in and it was empty. This meant someone had found our key and stolen all our stuff. And I bought another possibly with the bearers to go around the chair. They must have taken our key too. I decided to tell Mum and Dad all about the bearers. They probably stole our stuff to get some payback on me. And I took them to the area where I saw them sitting. By the time we got there, they were gone though. So I was worried they might have already left with the park. The van to the front gate there. Sure enough, the purple van was pulling away. I knew that van was Bambi's from the beginning, but I never thought they were capable of theft. Dad used to phone at the front desk to call the police. If it comes it without a license plate, it would be really hard to track down stolen stuff. If there was any good news about our situation, that our key to the van wasn't in the locker. It was back at the mechanics. So we walked to the auto repair shop where the mechanic was getting ready to put in a new radiator. He told Dad it was going to cost him almost $300. Dad told him he couldn't pay him because his wallet got stolen. Dad told the mechanic he'd mail him a check the second we got home, but the guy said he couldn't take an IOU. He would put some sealant on the busted radiator, which would last a day or two before it wore off. But the mechanic said we'll have to run the heater inside the van full blast to keep the engine from overheating. So it might sound crazy, but it actually works. My dad talked over to say we should just drive, and all the way home we didn't have any money or food. But we did have a full tank of gas. Dad figured out we drove through and we get back about 3 in the morning. Mum seemed pretty sad that the road trip was getting cut short. To be honest, I'm kind of relieved. Because when we got in the van, Dad turned up the heat like the mechanic told him to. Within about 30 seconds, it was 100 degrees inside the car. Mum opened up all the windows up front, but it was like a furnace where I was sitting. Just windows back there couldn't open. I told Mum I didn't think I could make it all the way home without dying of heat sick. I thought I'd be fine as long as I stayed hydrated. So I got 2 cases of water out of the boat and brought them into the van. We headed out onto the highway and went through 4 bottles of water that first hour. I tried to fall asleep to make the trip go faster, but I got woken up by someone and started honking their horn. The people in the car next to us were waving arms and trying to get our attention. When they looked behind us, I was surprised to see that the tarp on the boat was loose, up and around, and everything inside the boat was flying out. Cars were swerving left and right, trying to avoid stuff flying through the air. By now, Dad had seen what was going on to the rear view mirror and for the side of the road. We spent the next 2 hours walking down the highway trying to recover our stuff. We had to give up when it got dark. Once we got back into the van, we sorted through the things we had collected, so we found about 2/3 of our clothes. I packed for the trip. Mum said the bags that are still missing. Well, it's really gross. There are a few about items we picked up running in the house. I just found a pair of underwear and we stiff as cardboard. Once we got back in the car, Mum said we needed to start thinking about eating. Roderick wanted to open the package of cinnamon rolls, but that was still in the grocery bag, but Mum said they had been refrigerated and you get sick if you ate them. Mum used her GPS to try and find a place that to eat, but the only places that were open that were fast food places. Mum wasn't happy about that. We ended up pulling out of the rest stop along the highway. We had a fried chicken place. If we didn't have any cash or credit cards, we had to scrounge around the floor for loose change. We came up with $3.15, which I was pretty sure wasn't even enough to buy a drumstick and a fry. Mum said maybe they had a value menu with less expensive items, so we got out of the car and walked to the restaurant. When we got inside, as soon as the doors were locked and we could see workers inside, apparently that hour, the only thing open was a drive-thru. We got back at the car, tried to turn to another drive-thru lane, but with the boat it was too tight of a squeeze, so we had to repark and go through on foot. We stood next to the menu and waited someone to come through on the speaker and take our order, but no one did. Dad said there must be kind of sense that would detect the weight of our car, and if we tried our best to trigger it. Eventually someone inside noticed us moving the drive-thru window. Mum asked what we could get with the money we had, in case she said we could buy a small box of chicken nuggets and a biscuit. So we got that, plus a handful of barbecue sauce packets. So then we went back to the van and split up the food 5 ways. We drove for half an hour or so. By now it was pretty obvious we weren't going to make it all the way home in one shot. We're going to have to find a place to sleep. We didn't have any money for a hotel, so Mum tried to find a campsite nearby. Because this one was 10 miles in the opposite direction, Dad said we were just going to have to take the next exit and find a place where we could park and sleep in the car. I was hoping to just stay about 80 seconds longer. We could turn the heat off when we stopped. But as soon as we took the exit, it was clear we had made a mistake. First of all, the road wasn't paved. There weren't any houses, gas stations, even any houses. There were just trees on either side of the road and no street lights. We drove for a long time, but there was a road that was narrow and there weren't any good places to pull over. I think everyone was getting pretty spooked. Eventually Mum and Dad said we could just get back on our way. Dad kept saying he was positive that any moment we were going to find a good place to stop. But as we went down, the more nervous the Mum came, and not even the GPS didn't know where we were. We saw some signs up ahead, and we all got excited that maybe we were getting back to civilization. Right at that moment, everyone's nerves were totally shot. We heard a really loud noise. Dad swerved off the road and our car came to us. My ears were ringing as if I tried to figure out what happened. We expected breaking glass everywhere, but the windows were intact, and there was some kind of weird goo all over there. Roger had the gooey stuff on the back of his head, and we were totally freaking out. I still didn't know what was going on, so then I looked in the grocery bag, and which had shreds of cinnamon roll package inside. The tree bags were because the bag was sitting right on top of one of the heater vents. But Roger didn't know that yet. He had uncooked cinnamon roll on his back, and he thought it died with his brains. I was upset Roger even more that he saw Manny licking the stuff off his finger. Shriek! When we were walking back to the car, Mum said we could use Manny's baby wipes to get cleaned up, and she realised we accidentally locked the keys inside the minivan. There was hope though, so if we're still open, so Dad tried to fish the keys out of the cup holder. After a lot of trying, he still couldn't get the right angle. It looked like we would get our options. At that point, so Mum suggested maybe Manny could get the keys out. So Dad lowered Manny through the sunroof by the leash. Once Manny was in the van, he took his sweet time. First he went into the back seat, hit the two barbecue sauce buckets we had left. I dug through my duffel bag and found a pack of Oreos I've been saving just in case. Manny finally made his way to the front of the car, got the keys, but instead of opening the door to everything, he started the engine and filled with the knob and steering until he found a radio station he liked. Itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. It sang on the radio. Mum and Dad were pounding on the windows to try and get Manny to open it, but Manny put the car in drive. I think until then everyone had forgotten that Manny had been trying to run away because we never would have made the mistake of letting it in the van by itself. We remembered. Luckily Manny wasn't tall enough to reach the gas pedal, so if he could, he would have been long gone. I thought Manny knew his escape plan was forward, at least for now. Mum finally convinced him to knock the door. Once we got in, I started seeing some familiar lights outside the window. Before we got basically retracing our steps on the footpath. We were coming up on the town where we spent the craziest first night of our trip. Past the motel where we stayed, I saw the craziest thing. The whole van was parked outside the parking lot. I took Daddy and he pulled over. We took a closer look at the van, which revealed it was the one that belonged to the real examiner. They were staying at this hotel and they were probably using Mum and Dad's credit card to pay for it. We parked our car at the side of the building. Dad said he was going to call the cops and he got out to use the phone at the front desk. 30 seconds later, running back to the car. He says he saw the bears leaving their room, go down to the pool, look like their door was left open. Mum said we should stick with the plan and call the police, but Dad said before we did, we should do a little investigation on our own. So we all got out, followed Dad to the Beardo's room. Just like he said, the door was open and closed. Dad nudged it was a little wider, so we could peek inside to see if anything of the house was sitting in plain view. We couldn't see anything of our stuff where we were standing. Mum seemed pretty uneasy about what we were all doing, but Dad pushed the door all the way open, and there was no turning back. Couldn't find anything else, so if the Beatles did have any other stuff, they probably carried it with them to the pool. But as long as we had the run of their room, we decided to take full advantage of it because of the case since we were the ones paying for it. I think Mum felt that we were setting a bad example for Manny, so she took them out to the car. And the rest of us weren't finished. Me and Roger took our turns in bathing while Dad stood watch at the door. When he went in and told us to be lookouts for him. When we had pushed our luck, the second Dad shut the door to the bathroom, I saw the beauty coming our way. Now I love Dad and all, but I'm too young to die, so I bolted and Roger was right behind me. I wasn't there to see it. I'm guessing it's pretty awkward for Mr. Beater opened his bathroom door. Me and Roger got into the van and locked the doors. I was pretty convinced Dad was just going to make it out of the Dad wasn't going to make it out of the room alive, but just going to have to go without him. Mum put the car around the front of the motel. And just when she did, Dad burst out of the Beater's room. Somehow Dad had forgotten the idea to grab their car keys on the way out. When we got into our car, he chucked the keys into some bushes, which bought us some time. We must have forgotten the 2 miles down the road, but I didn't even bother to pull the plans back up. found each other because we escaped with our lives. But in our rush, we got away from got to turn on the heater. A few seconds later, the radio cranked out. Mum had to cut across 2 traffic lanes to get the van to the breakout lane. But in the spot where he pulled over, there was a broken bottle and ran right over to it. When we got out of the car, we could change to the tyre. Dad opened the back hatch to find his jack, but eventually I had taken it out before we left for the trip to make room for my pillow. But the only thing we could do at this point was wait for help to come. Eventually a car pulled over behind us, but when it got closer I knew we were in big trouble. It was a purple van. I figured the bearers were trying to ram us with their car, so I braced to impact. The van slowed down. I saw the video. It was pretty obvious that it was these guys that were here to help. But they didn't speak English, so I had trouble communicating with them. Mum and Dad tried to act what was wrong with them, and I'm sure the 2 guys thought my parents had completely lost their minds. When I was surprised there wouldn't be in public sense. Saludos, amigos, gracias, por favor, adiós. The conversation between Manny and the 2 guys lasted a long time, so I figured out Manny was explaining everything that had happened on the trip. Must have done a good job making those guys feel sorry for us, because the next thing you know, they'll realise I survived. And I'm happy to hear that I love it, she was great. And I said on the radio, "Do come down, can't tell power me more." I think we assumed these guys were taking us to a camp or something, but we were wrong. She realized that Mary was the one doing all the talking, and we ended up where we were going. Preparing to someday. Like I said before, Mum was right about the pigs being smart. She had him house trained within a week, and even the pigs knew a few tricks already. My only real complaint was that now I had to still watch my TV shows on my own. Like TV on my own because the pigs figured out how to use the remote. I'm not going to let that go because I don't want to bill my second time. What does it sound to make wink? It was taking a little while for everything to get back to normal after the trip. Dad had taken a few days off work to cancel his credit card and get new ones. To my moment, Dad is supposed to get new driver's license and phones. On my van, it was towed. We gave the boat to the driver who helped us out as a way of saying thanks, which was actually Mom's suggestion. I'll be saying that even though our trip didn't go the way we planned, it was still an adventure. She's been working on an article since the family vlog, and seriously does not hope get published. Mom's also been making a scrapbook. She asked everyone to contribute to put a souvenir inside. I was going through the clothes I wore on the trip and picked up my shorts. Something small fell on the floor. It was the key from Soak Central. I couldn't believe I had the key all along. Turns out the wrong locker. I was wrong about the locker number, but I should have got some credit for being close. Now that I have the key, I should have a tough decision to make. It feels like a page from one of those choose your own adventure books. Figure I have 3 basic choices. 1, you don't want to doubt the truth about the deals and conditions. 2, I can plant the key in Roderick's dirty laundry, let him take the blame. Or 3, I can flush the key down the toilet. Hope the things. That's not happened. The 4th option that involves the pig, but I haven't worked out the details of it. But like I said before, whenever I have difficult choices to make, I always seem to pick the wrong one. So whichever way I'm gonna go, this is the story that's happening. Also guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to reach 1k subscribers so I can start earning cash from YouTube. Thank you, and please like the video.